Welcome back. This is Urban to Homestead with me, your host, Jennifer, where we talk to real people living real life as homesteaders and experts on various aspects of homesteading, like raising animals, gardening, or preserving food. Most people think homesteading starts with property, but the truth is, it starts with identity. It starts with the moment you stop being only a consumer and start becoming a producer. People think homesteading equals land, animals, big farmhouse. This is not reality. Homesteading can be a potted garden on your back porch, or buying your meat from a butcher and repackaging it for your family's needs in your apartment or neighborhood home. Going big or going home is not where your journey has to start. My husband is in the military. We have moved all over the country, usually living in suburban homes with typical sized backyards. I was blessed that my husband grew up gardening, hunting, and processing meat, so he was able to take the lead in our semi-homesteading life. At most duty stations, where he was not deployed most of the time, he put out some sort of garden. In Colorado, the first house we lived in was a rental, so he couldn't put a garden into the ground. He built a raised garden along the fence where we grew tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, and more. He used hanging planters for strawberries and cherry tomatoes. He also used these fabric bags for potatoes. They had like flap holes in the sides where you could reach in and get the potatoes out as they grew. We lived there for a year before we purchased a home. In the new house, he turned a corner of the backyard into a garden space. There we had potatoes, carrots, squash, zucchini, watermelon, strawberries, cauliflower, kale, and other plants I can't even remember right now. He also repurposed the original raised beds for an herb garden right off the porch. In that house, the back porch was right off the kitchen, so that was really great for when I was cooking. The fresh herbs were super close and ready to use. In our current home, we have an HOA, which makes it a little more difficult, but we do have a container garden. We got a few pallets to put our potted plants on. We grew tomatoes, mostly, but also green onions, cucumbers, and strawberries. He also has an orange tree and a dragon fruit cactus, which is kind of funny because in the winter, those have to come inside. The dragon fruit cactus is big, but its pot is on wheels, so that's not terrible. It just takes teamwork to get it through the threshold of the back porch. But I do lose the garden tub to the orange tree in the winter. We have a window over the garden tub, and it turns out that orange tree really likes that and the humidity from showers and such. It's February, and it's budding and flowering out. We may have oranges before spring. For me, I have always been interested in being more hands-on with our food and what we nourished our children with. So don't get me wrong, we like our mac and cheese and store-bought potato chips. This is the semi part of semi-homesteading, but because I was already interested, it was an easy transition when he wanted to expand what we could do. So the best part of growing anything you're going to consume, especially when you have kids, is that they also learn how to be connected with the food. As I mentioned before, we're in a house in the suburbs while my husband finishes his military career. But we do have some land north of us where we keep cows. It's been a great experience learning to care for them and understand. When we go to the freezer to get out that steak or ground beef or roast, we know intimately where that meat came from. It's super satisfying to know we raised it, we loved it, and that it had a great life. I don't remember where I heard this or read this, but I saw a saying that says, our animals have a great life and only one unexpected bad day. Now, you don't have to have land and raise your own meat. You can find someone who does and buy it from them. Contact your local butcher or check sites like Craigslist for people selling it. You don't even have to buy a whole cow usually. Sometimes you can buy a quarter or a half. You can go in on one or a part of one with friends or families to help reduce the cost and accommodate storage limitations. So for perspective, we put a cow that started out weighing 650 pounds in a 21 cubic foot freezer. When I say it started out at 650 pounds, when you buy or have a cow and you take it to the butcher, you're going to lose about 50% of its weight. So in reality, we put about 325 pounds in that freezer. It'll last us a family of 5, all teens and adults, about a year, supplementing with pork, chicken, and fish a few times a week. Processing as much of your own food as you can creates an independence from the food system we otherwise have no choice to participate in. We know exactly what we're eating, where it came from, and what's in it. Again, you don't have to be a purist to benefit. Just do what you can. Anything is better than nothing. Even if you buy bulk at farmers markets and process the food yourselves, it gives you more control over your food than always relying on the grocery store sources and processes. I've recently started baking sourdough. I love it as a hobby, but more because I know our bread and bread products are not full of preservatives and who knows what else. But on that note, I do buy my flour in bulk at Costco. Is this the healthiest option available? No, it's bleached and processed, stripped of much of its nutritional value. When we finally move to our land, I will buy a mill and mill our flour. But will we grow the wheat? No, I'll buy that. But it's the best I can do with the resources I have. That's the key to this kind of independence. There's a misconception that it's all or nothing. It's not. It's do what you can with what you have, and importantly, enjoy it. Homesteading activities can be time-consuming, so it creates a busy yet slower, simpler life. I personally love this aspect of it, going to bed tired but satisfied that I've made things, I grew things, I provided for my family with what we have. I take issue with the idea that homesteading is an easier life. It's not. A lot of it's hard work, long hours on your feet and working your body. It's just simpler. The stress is different. We stress about if there will be rain for the fields we just planted to feed the cows. We worry about the equipment breaking as we try to harvest that hay. There is stress. There are hard days. They are just different. If you are or want to semi-homestead, then you have to decide if you want to watch TV or can all those peaches on your day off. If you don't enjoy these things or find these challenges worth it, homesteading, semi or full on, isn't for you. If you are physically involved in what your family consumes, then it is. So put on your comfortable clothes and shoes and get on out there. One of the coolest things I have witnessed is the difference in my kids when we are out on the farm. They're pretty techie, screen kids when we're in town. When we're out on the farm, you can often find them exploring, out with the cows, or helping fix equipment. They are learning and they are participating with an understanding that if the world crumbles, we can eat and we can thrive. That is very important to us. Again, this is part of the homesteading mindset, not location. You don't have to be in the country on a farm to do this. Remember how I started this, telling you about growing a garden in the small yard of a rental property? Homesteading doesn't start with land. It starts with a mindset. Shifting your mindset also means shifting from a consumer to a producer. You start to read labels and you look at how things are constructed more closely. Once you start producing yourself, you have a newfound respect for the work it takes to create and produce. So that $10 jar of jam or pickles or $12 loaf of sourdough bread at the farmer's market that is made in a small batch kitchen doesn't seem so pricey because you get it. That goes for textiles too. Homesteading isn't just about food, it's also about producing and repurposing. If you have ever crocheted or knitted or sewn, you know that these products take time and money. If you have to buy your materials, it can really add up, so repurposing becomes a way of supplementing production. Here's a cool story about repurposing. It is the one about turning flour, sugar, animal feeds, and grain sacks into clothing and household textiles, which began in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Initially, the products were sold in simple white sacks with a logo stamped on them. Women, especially those raising families in rural areas, would bleach them and scrub off the stamp to make towels, pillowcases, curtains, cleaning cloths, underwear, and shirts. However, during the 1930s, the time of the Great Depression, this repurposing became a survival necessity. Women also began sewing girls' dresses, aprons, quilts, among other things out of these sacks. When the companies that sold the goods that came in these sacks realized what was happening, they began using decorative prints to bag the sugar, flour, feed, etc. They came in floral prints, polka dots, and stripes, even color-coordinating patterns. Some even provided dress patterns. Families started choosing which brands they would buy based on the fabric used for the sack. This carried on into the 1940s during the World War II era, when Americans were dealing with fabric rationing, which made store-bought fabric scarce and expensive. Repurposing the sacks during this time was not just thrifty, but also patriotic, because it promoted waste reduction, resource conservation during a time when many resources were being reallocated for war efforts, self-resilience, and household resilience. Everyone was doing it. It was socially normalized, respected, and encouraged. Along with repurposing feed sacks, families were planting gardens in their city yards. They were urban homesteading before it was trendy. Back then, they called it using what you had. They learned skills, reused materials, created independence, valued knowledge, and built resilience. Today, we call it sustainability, homesteading, self-sufficiency, slow living. But at the end of the day, it's the same mindset. Be a producer, not just a consumer. Learning skills instead of outsourcing everything is another homesteading mentality. There may not always be someone to come help you fix whatever's broken. And even if there were, they are going to charge you a pretty penny, especially if they have to travel to you or come at a weird hour. Part of the self-resilience homesteading offers is the independence that comes from knowledge. Thankfully, no one says you can't be a homesteader if you have to look for help on YouTube. Some useful skills to learn include at least basic mechanicking, gardening, and processing fruits and vegetables, as we've already discussed, as well as basic cutting and welding, plumbing, and electrical work. Or at least explore your community and find someone who does have these skills. Then maybe offer to barter or trade skills or products. Here's an example of this concept. When my dryer broke, the repair company wanted about as much as a new dryer would cost to come fix the old one. So I went to good old YouTube, learned how to replace the heating element and the felt gasket, and it worked. So this was a lot of work and probably took me about 3 times as long, but it only cost me time and parts, which were much cheaper, and I got to learn a new skill. Another example of bartering goods for service is one of my mother's. She's not only a wonderful gardener, but also a seamstress. She has been known to trade clothing repairs or handmade goods like purses, teddy bears, blankets, placemats, I don't even know what else. And she would trade these goods for services like haircuts from friends and members of her community. When you live with a homesteading mentality, you tend to live more intentionally. You value time and effort and think about organizing your time efficiently and effectively to do the things you want or need to do and then be able to enjoy them. Homesteading is how you think, not where you live. As your mentality shifts, your identity then shifts. But don't be too hard on yourselves. It's not your fault that you may have been or are stuck in a consumeristic cycle. Modern homesteading is kind of getting back to the basics, or in some ways, the old ways. But it's important to understand why people stopped living this way in the first place. First was the post-war boom. After 1945, the economy boomed, middle-class wages rose, and leisure time and money increased. Then there was the GI Bill. The GI Bill helped, and still helps, veterans buy homes, spurring the growth of the suburbs. Without the GI Bill, we would not have been able to purchase homes. Came new cars, appliances, and the likes. Television was becoming mainstream, so marketing and advertising were being broadcast into every home. Not just advertising a product, but actually consumerism. Credit cards made it easier to buy things and begin living outside of one's means. This was framed as patriotic, a defining trait in direct opposition to communism. But then, here's the kicker. Companies began intentionally creating products that would wear out and break, necessitating repeat purchases. Have you ever noticed how after a couple of years your smartphone will stop working as well for really no reason at all? It was designed to do this so that you would spend money upgrading. They say things are not made like they used to be. Well, that's on purpose. Most of us, if not all, have always lived in this consumer culture. We didn't know any better until recently. People are waking up, understanding what's going on, and wanting out. But getting out completely is near impossible, and that's okay for now. As I've said over and over, do what you can. Start by planting a backyard garden and canning your food, or at least eating fresh during growing seasons. Reuse and repurpose. Buy less, repair your items, and learn to be less dependent on convenience. These things will take time, but it's worth it. Stop outsourcing basic life skills like how to fix a leaky sink or change your oil in your own car. Be willing to learn. That's one great advantage our generation has. We can Google and YouTube just about anything. Doing these things will build confidence that you are capable and empowered to be a producer instead of a buyer. Homesteading is a mentality that shifts to identity. This means you can do it anywhere. Now, not someday down the road when the stars align and you find the perfect plot of land and have a detailed plan. You are qualified. You have time. You have space. At the end of the day, learning homesteading skills, even if you find that it's not the life for you, is a safety net for when the time comes that you need to know how to do these things. I'll give my father as example. He grew up knowing how to plant a garden, be a mechanic, and fix things. He no longer cares to do those, so he outsources. But in a pinch, he can do it, even if he doesn't actually want to. So look, anybody can get started anywhere. One plant matters. One skill matters. One habit matters. One change matters. Homesteading is not land ownership. It's intentional living. It's learning. It's resilience. It's growth. It's direction. And it's becoming more capable. And in that, you become more confident. Homesteading isn't a place you move to, it's a direction you choose. Thank you for joining us today, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode about the good, bad, ugly, and the do's and don'ts of homesteading.